the school shooting in Santa Fe, Texas, which in this warped country we live in this warped country we live in, it's pretty much off the news already. 10 people were murdered, eight students, 2 teachers, and they're not covering it as far as I can see. I've had the news on for about 2 hours. The news, CNN and MSNBC, and it's Trump, 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 Trump. And part of why this keeps happening is the corporate media is completely derelict in its duty to cover real news. Because in most countries, when you have massacres at schools or concerts or malls or movie theaters, it doesn't just like pop up for a day or two and then like leave the discussion. Like laws are passed, media covers it. In Australia, they had an assault weapons massacre, I think 2 decades ago, like that. Laws were passed, no more assault, no more mass shootings in Australia. But in America, we live in a different system, one based off legalized bribery. So let me give you some of the latest, and definitely share the video. Like I said, YouTube is having its way, not exactly delivering videos to all my subscribers. It's always interesting because you'll get, you know, kind of like 30 to 50 people watching, and then all of a sudden towards the end, I'll get all these extra people watching and they all say we didn't get notifications. So I digress. But here's the latest on the Texas school shooting. Again, Santa Fe, Texas. This was from CNN's website. What we do know, the gunmen opened fire at Santa Fe High School in Texas on Friday. Police arrived on scene and engaged in a shootout that lasted 25 minutes. 10 people were killed, like I said. One of the students killed had rejected the suspect's advances for months. He was identified as Dimitrios Pagortis. I totally mispronounced that. I believe it's Dimitrios Pagortis, 17. He was armed with a shotgun and a .38 caliber handgun. And here's something, I couldn't believe this. Governor's campaign changes gun giveaway after school shooting. I mean, I know it's Texas, but this is absurd. Governor Greg Abbott's re-election campaign has changed a gun giveaway on its website following last week's deadly shooting at Santa Fe High School. The campaign was previously giving away what it called a Texas-made shotgun, but that has now changed to a $250 gift certificate. Oh, how kind of them. How kind of them to change it. You know, most campaigns give away like t-shirts, bumper stickers. The Texas governor, let's give away a shotgun. Maybe that's part of the problem in Texas, you think? You think? This is going to keep happening because the media allows it to keep happening. Because it's the media's job, not only to expose these things and to cover it, but to safeguard the public trust. You can't have a public trust if the public is being massacred. I mean, am I in the Twilight Zone, folks? I mean, I know it's important that, you know, Trump is going off and he's talking about, you know, forcing the Department of Justice to investigate whether there was some, you know, undercover FBI agent doing things to his campaign. I get it. That could be covered alongside this shooting. But it's kind of just like a pathetic, it's like watching a pathetic, emasculated person watching these anchors pretend to be journalists on the Sunday shows, and today, oh, you know, why does this keep happening? How can we put a stop to it? Even like, this doesn't even deserve asking questions anymore to the politicians because we know the answers. All right, this time it wasn't an AR-15, but it was a shotgun. We have more guns in this country than people. Then they're saying the issue in this case was gun owners not securing their guns. Yeah, that's an issue, but it's not the main issue. But Jake Tapper allowed that to become a talking point in that interview I saw. But who is their voice? Because it's not CNN, it's not MSNBC, it's not the New York Times, it's not the Washington Post, it's not the Associated Press, and frankly, independent media outlets move on too often and too quick because it's been normalized. But you as the media's job is to not normalize this. You don't normalize massacres. You don't normalize 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds getting shot and murdered where they go to school. You know, I went to my cousin's graduation on Saturday, and in the car up, my mother was like, you know, I think, what do we need to do? I think parents need to just keep their kids home from school all over this country. I mean, there's laws against that, but I think we're at that point now where some serious shit needs to happen. I don't know if it's students collectively just walk out and protest outside their schools, or they all walk out and go to the local city hall or the governor's mansion. What are they going to give them all detention for the rest of their lives? You know, at the end of the day, Trump is going to be president for 4 years or 8 years. Trump is going to give CNN and MSNBC and all these outlets ratings for the time being or the next 7 years. But Trump's going to go away. It's not forever. These kids have lost their lives permanently. These parents have part of their lives, and in some cases, they are dead too. They're the walking dead. I don't have children, but I have spoken with people who have lost children. It's like dying yourself, living on this earth. When someone you gave birth to, or if you're a father, one of your kids, is murdered as a teenager in such a gruesome way. That's not normal, folks. And you know what else the media is failing to do? Report the truth. Took me 5 minutes to find this. Here we go. Swamp Things. Texas Governor Abbott's debt to the gun lobby. Wait till you hear about Mr. Abbott. Texas Governor Greg Abbott made no mention of guns at his press conference in Sutherland Springs about 5 hours after a man opened fire during a Sunday morning church service there, killing 26 people and wounding 20. Obviously, this article was written a while ago after that church shooting. Instead, he spoke of the family members killed or injured and asked for God's comfort and guidance for the survivors and loved ones. Because, you know, God and the thoughts and prayers are really, really effective to stop these things. Later, after the shooter's military conviction for domestic violence came to light, Abbott told CNN that David Kelly's request for a permit to carry a concealed handgun had been rejected in Texas, and that because of his prior record of domestic abuse, he should not have been allowed to buy rifles. But ever since he ran for his first Texas legislative seat more than 20 years ago, Abbott has been a steady advocate for expanding Texans' access to guns. He has earned 100% approval rating from the National Rifle Association, and he's proud of it. This was a tweet from him. I've supported gun rights before the campaign began and have an A rating by NRA as opposed to Wendy Davis's F rating. I'll keep Texas free. Well, you certainly kept these 8 children free, didn't you, Mr. Abbott? What Abbott has not mentioned is that he owes part of his rise in Texas politics to the gun lobby. As I always say, follow the money. Back in 2002, 12 years before the NRA publicly endorsed him for governor, the gun lobby used a law enforcement front group to quietly help elect Abbott as Texas Attorney General. Back then, Democrats still held a majority in the Texas State House and in the Texas delegation to Congress. It was a time when the gun lobby was learning how to reach out to other right-leaning groups, forging alliances that predated both the Tea Party and the Trump campaign. It was the beginning of a redistricting or gerrymandering process that has since helped bring the Republican Party in Texas and other states to unprecedented political power. Abbott faced a tight race for Attorney General against Austin's popular Mayor Kirk Watson. Shortly before the election, television ads appeared attacking Watson for allegedly being soft on crime and favoring Abbott, who was then a Texas Supreme Court justice, for supporting, quote, the swift and aggressive prosecution of sexual predators and child pornographers. The ads were signed by the Law Enforcement Alliance of America. Mayor Watson said he had never heard of this group. As I later reported, not me, the author of this piece, as I later reported in the Texas Observer in 2004, it was established in 1991 with a grant from the National Rifle Association and opened offices just 11 miles away from NRA headquarters in Virginia. The Law Enforcement Alliance had a budget of $5 million in 2001. The Alliance's attack ads often favored the same candidates as Texans for a Republican majority, founded by then Texas State House Representative and later U.S. House Leader Tom DeLay, Justice Abbott won the 2002 election by 15 points, the same year that Texas Republicans gained control of the Texas House for the first time since Reconstruction. Attorney General Abbott later approved a Republican-led redistricting plan that soon helped Texas give Republicans a majority in the Senate as well. House Leader DeLay was later tried and convicted of violating election laws, blah, 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 blah. So the point here is the NRA, through a front law enforcement group that the NRA had funded, the NRA helped elect Greg Abbott for the first time as Attorney General of Texas. Why is it that that very easy to find story is not all over the news right now? Why isn't it all over the news that Greg Abbott has taken all sorts of money from the NRA and other gun manufacturers? Why isn't it all over the news right now that he just had to cancel a gun giveaway, which was a part of, I guess, his re-election campaign? I guess, selling your soul and having blood money from a gun terrorist organization, because that's what the NRA is. Let's just call it what it is. They're terrorists. They don't care who dies. They put out propaganda, and they want profits. They don't care who dies. If human beings get in the way of their profits, they'll do whatever they can to make sure people die. Because, by the way, when these shootings happen, gun sales go up.